What's going on YouTube? I am back from an unplanned hiatus to talk about the 4th generation Toyota Hiace for a second time, showing it in two different color options that weren't seen in part 1, as well as going over some information that I didn't discuss before. The first of which being that this particular generation of Hiace lasted for 15 years, from August of 1989 to August of 2004, which I find to be pretty crazy. As for the engine, without getting too in-depth, there were several different types and sizes available in this generation. Some of them ran on regular gasoline and others were fueled with biodiesel. In most cases, regardless of the engine type, this was a rear-wheel drive vehicle, but there were part-time and full-time four-wheel options available. It's worth noting that the first four-wheel drive models were only available to the Japanese domestic market, with either a 2.8 or 3-liter diesel engine. The international market, however, would have the option of a gas or diesel engine for the four-wheel drive version. The base model Hiace was normally the DX, which I don't have a model of, so here's a picture. There were a few upscaled options available as well, starting with the GL and the Super GL, which I also don't have models of, and the Super Custom, which would be the red model and the green one, and the Super Custom Limited, which would be the white model and the gold model. You might be wondering why the front end of the gold version looks different than the rest of them. The reason for that is because this model is one of the so-called facelifted versions of the Hiace, which was done several times in this generation. The first time in 1993, a second time in 1997, and a third time in 2002, which is the one that you see here. So you know how I said earlier that I thought it was crazy how the 4th generation Hiace was produced for 15 years? Well, something that I found even more fascinating, possibly the most fascinating thing I've learned so far in doing this channel, is that China has been producing an unofficial version of the 4th generation Toyota Hiace since 1991, called the Jinbei Hiace. It's spelled differently, but I would assume it's pronounced the same way. It's gone through several facelifts of its own over the years, or decades I guess you could say, but at its heart is still just a clone of a vehicle that came out in 1989, and this just really blows my mind, for many reasons. If you want to tell me which of these four is your favorite, I'd definitely be interested to know. It's hard for me to decide, but the gold one is definitely my least favorite. My dad had a Chevy Lumina that resembled the green one when I was a kid, so I'm partial to that one, but I also really like the red one, and the white one's pretty sweet too. I think I just don't like the gold one because I'm not a big fan of the facelift. But as I always say, thanks for watching, I really do appreciate it, and subscribe if you feel like it. I'll see you in the next one.